Welcome back to the web. This is where we discuss slavery and economics. I would like to ask my brother right here about the key things that happened in history in America from a black perspective or an African American perspective. What what has brought us here now? The key terms.
What
Like
has brought us to this point?
yes, what really happened?
Well, it was all about control. It it was where if we could take your leaders away from you, your elders to know your story. Uh, if we can use the young and program them, not just our culture, but just in general, it was more like an experiment. Let's try this out to see how long this lasts. And once they start realizing that things were changing, times are changing, the people that they've used for so long are no longer needed. So now that we're no longer needed, now we're stuck in a whole new economy that we're having to re-educate ourselves on the labor market.
So we are no longer needed because we are not property
Mm-hmm.
or slave labor.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are in the age of information.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was looking at it from a perspective of the change or the shift in economic model where they needed slaves to work
Mm-hmm.
to build up these masters' bank accounts.
Well, it's not much different than then till now. It's just the difference is they looked at it like instead of just one group, how about we just make this
But let me finish. I was about to say that from an economic point of view,
mm-hmm.
this transition, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was slave labor first.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need us. They said, okay, our foreparents, my bad. They didn't need our foreparents. So they said, okay, let's end the slavery thing. Then they came up and say, all right, we have machines now to work. Industrial revolution. And then after that, and during that time, they transitioned and exported their machines overseas from an American perspective. And now we're in the age of information where these tech companies,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, are here now at this current age. That's like an economic view of the models. That's how they worked
Mm-hmm.
in money terms. That's how I see it.
Yep. So now things are different. Before, when you had an actual labor force, we still do, but when you have a labor force that every so often you'll see technology just inching its way in. What happens is now we've got this technology and we've got this what do they call it? Automation.
Mm-hmm.
So now your
Robots.
job. So basically, what we used to have, like for instance, let me just give you an idea, thought. Remember when we used to have call centers everywhere? Now they got automation, so you can just go straight to the number instead of actually hearing from an actual person. That's not saying that there isn't one when you actually know who you're supposed to talk to, but it cuts down on a lot. Well, at one point, you can go to the bank, talk to a bank teller. You can still do that now. It's not rooted out yet, but they're giving you clues. They're giving you clues. This is gonna happen. So imagine from here you see bank tellers. All of a sudden you're seeing this automation. Then you're seeing the ATMs, and then pretty soon you can bank online without having to go to the bank. You see how they slowly inch you into a whole new world, a whole new digital currency, a whole new phase of how the economy is run, the whole new phase of how the worker is slowly being phased out. You have to retrain yourself for a whole new labor force, where you was once a physical laborer where now you're going to have to be more of like a digital gig economy worker.
Right.
Where, you know, now if you don't know much about computers, eventually you will be phased out like the dinosaur.
Right.
So this is what we face on a day-to-day basis. So imagine, you know, if you're already in tech or if you deal with computers, your job may be, you know, pretty much on a rise, maybe, depending on how things go. But if your job was more, you know, labor forced, I could definitely tell you certain jobs they're still going to need you for. Like, for instance, construction, policing, you know, for the time being, when it comes to, you know, governing, you know, they still need people for that to sign
They're
bills.
trying to get rid of like secretaries and front desk clerks.
Yeah, they're trying to do that. That's possible. That could be an issue where, you know, that's where they come up with key cards and fobs and stuff like that, where, you know, the system will recognize you and they'll lock you in and lock you out. But there's always got to be somebody to work on the system if it crashes. That's why I say, on one end, tech has made things more sufficient. On the other end, it basically cyberly connected us, but culturally disconnected us.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, you feel like I can talk to my family and friends on Facebook and do all these wonderful things and have these great products and send stuff back and forth, and I don't even have to leave the comforts of my home. But on the other hand, if it wasn't for tech and the way how things are going in the digital age, most of these folks would not have a career where they are now. We wouldn't be able to reach the people that we would reach now.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, like I said, it's a great asset to us. On the other hand, it's going to be the greatest demise to our downfall, because the more we depend on it, the less we actually stop thinking as people.
How do you believe that people of color fit in this new world right now of technology?
We fit. It's just we don't have enough economic power financially to start up our own law firms, to start up our own banks. We have banks and we have, you know, tech companies, but they're not mentioned and they're not like at the top tier. We don't have access to capital where we can actually enter into the game, where we can also place bids on certain companies and, you know, real estate businesses and stuff like that. We're not always given the same access as the others. So those are just inequalities that seem to come with the territory.